sitting across from me today is probably the most handsome man east of the Mississippi, Kevin Sass. I want you to smell it. Tell me what you smell.
Demons.
What do you taste?
Oh my God, that's gorgeous. It was like a warm demon blanket on my tongue.
It's warm.
We see you guys walk in at the soccer tournament, and I'm like, oh, look, what do we have here? Look at this.
That's my soccer villain.
Look at this guy. Look at this Nordic monster. Oh, I'm 45. I still love farts. I mean, I can't. You can't help it. I can't help it. So I punched my desk. I stood up. And I walked up to my teacher's desk with that report, and I slammed it down on her desk, and I said, "Are you kidding me? Is there a way that I can arm wrestle you with one of my legs, being that your arms are the size of my legs?" No?
I mean, that would be a first on the show.
So, Kevin, what are you the most afraid of in life?
Come on. What's your biggest fear?
Failure. I look down at my phone, and I see my wife's cell phone number. And I'm like, pick up the phone, and I still, like, this tone, what she said to me at that moment was just, it knocked me out of my chair, and I just hear, "Kevin." Did you should have saw Maria's face. I went down and I go, "We're done. That's good." She goes, they were all like
I'm out.
totally dumbfounded.
This is stupid.
It's like, Sean made me feel weird. I was like,
He kicked me out.
I was like, no, I just had to tell Haley or start. It's like, here goes. That's good.
Welcome to the Barbells and Bourbon podcast. I am your big, bald, bearded, barbell lifting, bourbon drinking son of a bitch, Sean. And sitting across from me today is probably the most handsome man east of the Mississippi, Kevin Sass.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude? Thanks. Welcome to our home.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. This is beautiful. Glory.
you.
Like, I want this room. I'd like to transport it to my house.
You could build you one.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
How far did you have to drive to get here today, man?
Roughly 4 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, kidding. About 45.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
That's not quite like have to pull over and pee distance, but it's like got to make sure you have enough gas
For sure.
distance.
Scottsdale, PA, man.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Dell.
Just like disclaimer here, we got high wind warnings today. If power goes out, we're gonna plow through, man.
Okay.
I don't even care. we're gonna lose the lights, but
We'll make it happen.
We're gonna figure it out.
We'll make it happen. Sounds good. Sounds
so
good.
after that long trip, dude, you've got to be parched.
I am. I am.
Can I interest you in a not so refreshing room temperature beverage?
Yeah. You know what? Let's get into something. I
I
don't
think-
know what 70, maybe 80% of these are. So
do you enjoy a
culture
bourbon?
me.
Do you enjoy a bourbon?
I do.
Good.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to be
I
cultured by
obviously-
the big
I
bald guy.
obviously enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
So yeah, take your pick, man. This is you're the guest. Pick whatever the heck you want.
I'm gonna say before we started, I got a little lick at this, and then I just kind of dig the name. Let's go with some devil's juice.
Oh my God.
Is that okay? Is that bad to start with?
Oh my God. This is gonna be good. Yeah. All right. Oh my
is that
God.
cool?
Oh my God.
Okay.
This is gonna be so good.
I mean, the name called to me.
All right. I can't believe you picked this one. Oh, I gotta get the pop.
Okay. Ooh, that was beautiful.
Bassy.
Was
All
that
about that bass.
was that a demon coming out of there?
I think. Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pour yours first.
Right on. I'll let you get into that.
Now, another disclaimer. I think this is the earliest I've ever drank in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah. Me too,
noon,
Sean. Me too,
but
Sean.
you know what they say.
Never. Yeah.
Okay, so I actually know a little bit about this one.
Yeah. I was gonna say, hit me.
If you would put this back, I don't think we're gonna need this again.
We'll touch this again for
So,
like 5
so
years.
I want you to smell it. Tell me what you smell.
Demons.
I mean,
I mean,
there could be some in there. What does that smell like? Seriously.
Is it? I'm getting some oakiness. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
I'm
smell.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm bad at this. I don't
It's
smell
fine.
well.
It's you're a shitty smeller.
I am.
Oh wait, that sounds bad.
Yeah, my wife will smell this candle or this soap I just got. And I'm like, nothing. I don't know. Sorry.
It smells like
I mean,
like pure gasoline.
yeah.
All right, so this is probably the woodiest, oakiest bourbon on the face of this planet. Okay. I want you to
all right.
cheers, brother.
Okay. Cheers.
Welcome.
Thanks again, man. Thanks again.
What do you taste?
Oh my God, that's gorgeous. It was like a warm demon blanket on my tongue.
It's warm.
Oh, that's.
I think it's like 120 proof.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah. It should be
we're,
warm.
we're gonna take our shirts off here in a minute. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it literally feels like somebody just kicked the heater on. So that's good.
What do you taste?
Definitely the wood. Is there a little spice going on here? Like a little tinge of. That's something
So-
I don't.
There could be.
Maybe it's just the high alcohol content.
Yeah. That's the kick you're getting. So
It's
This-
Are you kidding me? Is this seriously? Hold on,
this to me
dude.
tastes like you've licked a burnt piece of firewood. Like it is so. And there's actually there's bourbon YouTube channels,
Okay.
and people will send these channels this bourbon. This is from McLaughlin Distillery. It's actually in Sewickley.
No way.
Yeah, local distillery. They'll send these bourbon tasters that bourbon as like a joke
Yeah.
to get their feedback on it.
Okay.
And every review of this bourbon is just like licking sawdust, licking firewood, hot charcoal in my mouth. Like it is so woody.
Yeah.
It's
Listen, I
absurd.
just found something out about myself.
What?
I guess I like to lick burnt wood because it's. I think
You
it's
really like
fantastic.
that?
I swear to God.
So, I mean, I'm
into
glad because I really enjoy it too. But there's so many people that
I'm into
try
it.
this and they're like,
I don't. Yeah,
You're
I don't know
psycho.
bourbon whiskey. Like I don't like the stuff that has that Windsor bite at the end.
yeah,
That
yeah. Yeah.
This is. It's like a warm blankie.
I'm a huge fan.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm glad you like it. And I think this is going to be enough for us.
Yeah.
At 12 o'clock in the
I think
afternoon.
that's a-okay.
So I actually kind of use bourbon as a metaphor with fitness, and I'm probably the only person on the planet that's going to connect bourbon to fitness.
Okay.
But if you think about it, a distiller puts their recipe together, right? Whatever their blend is of corn and wheat and rye and barley and whatever. Then they have to put it in this barrel and let it set for 15 years sometimes, 5, 10, 15 years. And if they don't, they're not going to get the result that they wanted, right? So if they rush it and they wait a year, it's going to taste like moonshine or gasoline. It's not
Right.
going to take on the aging of the barrel that it's being aged in and such. It's kind of like fitness, right? You have to be patient and wait for the results that you want, right?
1,000%.
Yeah.
A
It
1,000%.
doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So that's kind of like my bourbon fitness metaphor. And
I like that. I listen. I mean, I just completed my first year. I'm 45 years old. I just completed my first year in my life of what I would say, kind of consistent workouts, right?
Yeah.
Minimum of 3 a week, most weeks 4 and 5. And am I where I want to be? No. But am I proud of what I've done in the past year? For sure. But yeah, foot on the pedal now, but I totally get it. It's all about,
yeah.
the
Being
patience,
patient.
right? It's the
It's-
patience and
yeah.
the consistency.
And you know what? Everybody wants overnight results, not only with fitness, but with everything's instant gratification these days.
Magic
right?
pill, magic workout.
Yeah. Or even like with DoorDash and Amazon Prime, like I need it now. I need it tomorrow.
Yes.
Like hurry, hurry, hurry.
Yes.
And that's just the society now.
Oh, yeah.
And, especially with fitness, you can't expect something to happen overnight, especially say you gain 50 pounds over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell the person, well, you need to wait 3 years to lose it. It took you that long to put it on.
Right.
It could take as long to get it off, right?
For sure.
It's just like sometimes you have to just kind of level set
Yeah.
and realize like, okay,
I mean,
it's
here's what hit home for me, right? I'm sure you've seen this. Pictures on Google, whatever, of what 10 pounds of fat looks like. That's a huge punch in the face, right? And so anybody that's like, I have 20 pounds, 10 pounds, 30 pounds to lose, dude, take it easy and just work. Be consistent, because Lord God, look at that picture. What do you think that it's not easy to make that disappear immediately, so
no.
for sure.
And we'll get back to fitness later, because I know you've had a pretty incredible transformation over the last few years, and I want to highlight that. But
Thank you. Sure.
before we do, I want to kind of like dig into maybe like the more personal side of Kevin.
Yeah.
So say you're on a plane, right? You're in the window seat, the middle seat's open. You're like, yes, I got room to spread out. Doors are almost closing, and then I'm walking down the aisle. Okay, you're like not making eye contact.
No,
you're searching for your bag of pretzels in your bag.
Yeah.
You're like,
right.
And I sit down next to you. Okay, freaking my right ass cheek brushes your shoulder, and I drip my Starbucks on your leg, and I get situated.
Yeah.
Awkward. Hey man, good morning. Where are you headed? Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, what do you do for a living? What's your answer, man? What do you do?
So I train people, I coach people to do a job.
I like it already.
Okay.
So you're trying to improve people.
For sure. And I have a lot of passion in it. What I train may not be the most exciting thing to people, nor is it to me.
Yeah.
But the aspect of teaching and then seeing results and seeing people get that aha moment. Oh my God, Kevin, thank you. You know what? I had worked with this person or that person, and I never understood this process, but now you just put it away that I get it. I got it. Thank you. For me, that's huge, man. I love
cool,
that.
man.
So, they call us coaches at this job. I coach soccer as well. And it's the same thing. Like, I take pride, I take passion in explaining things in ways that, maybe I'm understanding that one player or that employee maybe didn't get a certain process or a certain move, a certain technical technique in soccer. I'm gonna make you understand.
Man.
So I take pride in that, for sure.
Good for you, dude. Yeah, I mean, the people that help people and it fills their cup, like those are good people. And I think that's why we connect so well.
For
It's
sure.
like I think like from the moment I met you, we were like bros.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Well, let me say this. So this is it's funny because I don't consider myself a small guy by any means. So there's not a lot of people that I think that I look at and I'm like, oh, but I don't think I'm huge either by any means. But like we see you guys walk in at the soccer tournament and I'm like, oh, look, what do we have here? Look at
That's my soccer villain.
look at this guy. Look at this Nordic monster. So, but what I've learned over the years in my life is like, don't judge, man.
No.
I give everybody a shot.
You got to.
I've looked at, I've you deal with certain people and they just might hate you or be a dick from stage one, from the get-go. You looked at me, I looked at you, and the first thing we both did is we smiled and we said hi. Yeah. And that's what I like, because I hey, elf, right? I like smiling, so it's like, we both smile a lot, and we're not afraid to laugh and goof around.
Right.
I just think at the end of the day, neither of us take ourselves too serious.
No.
And I think that's the big thing. Like there's so many people now.
We have
that are
our
like,
moments.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And I think, it's some people don't appear approachable. Some of them don't want to be approached.
You're right.
Some people are just really introverted. And
I've been there. I've
Yeah. And they just, they don't make eye contact. They don't smile. They got the resting bitch face, right? They they don't want to, associate with people. But then there's you, like you just kind of like, it's going to sound like really corny, but you're like, you kind of like bring light into the room. Like you're you're full of life, and I want to know people like you because you're just fun to be around. So again, I think that's kind of like what drew us to becoming friends.
For sure. You know, I think we're both in the same light of, you know, we're true extroverts, right?
Yeah.
Like I get energy. You know, there's just so many days where I'm like, let's go here, let's be around people. Like, and it's not that I don't want to just, you know, sit and hang out with my family. Of course, I love that downtime with my family, but I also love time around people and friends. I feed off of it lights me up. I like to bring that light and that energy, you know, to my friends and whoever I'm around. And it, you know, it's simple at the end of the day, man. Be cool to me, I'm cool to you. Simple,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it should make sense and it should be common sense, but
Yes, unfortunately.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you know, that's kind of like how we met, right? Now, say there's a scrapbook of Kevin, okay? Like from the beginning of Kevin till now. Kind of like walk me through your childhood. Like, where did you grow up? You obviously live in the Pittsburgh area now. It took you 45 minutes to get here, but like, it's kind of like start from the beginning, man.
So yeah, and this is kind of something that I was looking forward to. I didn't know obviously what you're gonna ask me, what we're gonna talk about, but again, you know, I'm 45. How many of us even lived to 90?
Yeah.
I'm likely past my halfway point.
Yeah.
And thinking about doing this and talking to you, I'm like, I've had a pretty self-reflective week thinking about life.
Okay.
And so with that said, here's what's funny. So I was a kid, like, let me start by saying phenomenal parents. I was blessed with some of the best parents, you know. I'll put my parents up. You know, they are the best. And I have a brother, and he's the best, you know, as well. So you would think like, okay, Kevin's going to be shot out of a cannon, you know, from childhood, and I just wasn't. You know, I love soccer. I was always goofy, and you know,
Class clown.
yeah, you could say that. You could say that. You know, I'm 45. I still love farts. I mean, I can't. You know, you can't help it. I can't help it. I mean, you know, I went to Catholic school, and one of my best moments ever was sitting there waiting for confession on one of those wooden pews.
Farting on a wooden pew.
Dude,
It's
dude, like I'm talking like you could have heard a cricket fart. That's how quiet this church was. And I leaned back and I just tore this thundercloud. And I'm laughing uncontrollably. And all my friends from my class, I mean, there was like, you know, Jesus God, 10 of us, 12 of us, 15 of us tops. I mean, it was this little Catholic school. And all my buddies turn around, they're, oh, you know. And I look up and I'm just like, yeah. And I look up and here comes like a brigade of angry nuns. And I'm like, uh-oh. And needless to say, that didn't go well. But, you know, so I'm sorry, Mom, I farted in God's house. But, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I've just always been a goofball. Soccer, I worked hard. And again, my parents were always there.
When did you start playing soccer? Like what age? Super young?
Gosh, yeah, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Okay. Yeah, played all through, you know, did the travel thing, the cup thing. And what I'll get to is where, you know, I kind of lost focus, and that's where I beat myself up to this day. Yeah. So, you know, when I was young, what I'll say is I probably had some not so good influences in my neighborhood that I grew up around and got into some dumb things. And that's where my focus started to tail off. My drive. Here's what's funny. So I ended up in, again, I said maybe 15 tops, right? That was in this class. Mm-hmm. I ended up in like a assisted reading class because they were like, oh, Kevin's struggling. And it was funny because it's like, it wasn't that I was struggling. It was that I just didn't care. Why would a kid that's, you know, in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade just not care? You know, I don't know. I still look back on it to this day. Again, you know, it's no one's fault. So it's funny because I'm proud of myself because I look and I'm like, I was that kid that everybody probably looked at like, oh, look at Kevin. He's struggling. Yeah. He can't read well. You know, he can't type well. He can't do this. He can't do that. And, you know, even so then, you know, let's fast forward to, you know, let's say 7th, 8th grade. that bad influence started to sink into me even more.
And
And
you were already kind of like a step behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
So bad combo, right? You have this bad influence, and now let's mix in.
Make it even harder to get ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my school, so it only went to 8th grade. So when you got to 8th grade, you had to go to the Catholic high school or you went to the local public high school. So, of course, my parents, everybody was like, you go to the Catholic high school. And I was like, I don't want to. Because all my friends that I played soccer with went to the public high school.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fine. I had longer hair, right? And I've done everything in this world. And anybody that knows me, like, I've never been afraid to do what I want to do. Look at me. And so, but I've never been more comfortable in my own skin, let's say that. But dude, so I get to this high school, this Catholic high school, and they see the kid with the long hair. And I'm literally watching teachers. There were no nuns, right? No, I'm watching teachers, I'm watching the principals, I'm walking down the hallway. And my hair was like here, right?
Like shoulder length.
It's not like I had hair down to my asshole
Like
and I'm
80s
walking down the hill,
classic,
hallway headbanging.
Right.
But dude, as I'm walking down, we had uniforms. Let me say that too, right? So it was like the true Catholic school, right? We had uniforms, and so I'm walking down this hallway, and I just see heads turning.
Who is this guy?
It's that guy must drink.
He's the
devil's
devil.
juice, right? So I'm like, oh shit. So what do you think that did to me, right? Little fire in my ass to go, fuck it even more.
Okay. So yeah, there's two different roads you could take there, right? Mm-hmm. You can follow the masses, right? And just kind of like blend into your environment.
Yeah.
Because you want to be accepted.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
take ownership of who you are
Yep.
and who you want to be.
So let's say this, my freshman year, not good at all. Bumpy one, right? Problems here and there. I get into my sophomore year and I start to have a little bit of that light to where I'm like, man, you got to pull it together a little bit here, Kev. Like you don't have a lot of time left in high school. Like I had zero, like if you'd have asked me like, what do you want to do? I don't know.
Oh, you had no idea.
I don't know. I want to party. I don't, it was bad. It was, where's the girls? Where's the party? That was me.
What was your brother like? Was he similar to you?
So, no, not at all.
No?
Not at all.
He was
He
more,
always
like,
he
focused and
2 years younger,
Okay.
and he always just had that focus and that drive, and I always respected him to no end for it. And there was even moments where, you don't want to say envy, but you would look and go, shit, man, like what am I doing? How is he locked in? My brother was a fantastic baseball player. And my dad played baseball at a very high level. Like, so they had that bond where, and maybe that was another thing where it was like, I always kind of felt like I was on my own island because it was like, I play soccer. And like, God bless my dad. He didn't know a lick about soccer.
Yeah.
So he couldn't help me. But they would go to the field and this and that. And then I'm like out in the backyard kicking the ball off the shed, like practicing whatever, I mean, my God, let's think about this.
Yeah.
There was no dribble up ball. There was no YouTube videos. There was none of that. So it was like just constantly trying to figure out how to get good at that. But with that said, me and my brother butted heads a lot when I was young.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, did he ever, like, kind of pull you aside and be like, Kev, get your shit together?
Oh, yeah. He
Did
tried.
Okay.
He tried.
Now, did that make you resent him? Like, he's trying to change you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We butted heads hard. He would go to my parents and be like, hey, Kev just did this. And my parents would come at me and I'd be like, you little shit, motherfucker, kill you, Yeah, it was bad. And I look back at it and I feel bad about that because I do think he was just trying to help me. But I was like, I was in such a zone of like, fuck you all. Like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Dude, how crazy is it that your younger brother tried to pull you in?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Usually it's the other way around.
So check this out.
Kudos to your brother for like trying to be a good brother.
Yeah. My brother's now he's been a Columbus police officer for 10 plus years. He's now training police officers, which I'm like couldn't be more proud of him. It's pretty cool. So my sophomore year, like I said, I start to kind of, get a little bit of focus, right? My English class, I have this book report. And it was one of the first books I had read ever for like forever. It was. I remember
You're like
this.
15 years old.
Check
and
this
never read
out,
the
dude.
book.
It was a Lawrence Taylor biography, and I love this book, and I fell in love with like him and his struggles, and I was like, dude,
You mean
and
football player, LT?
yeah,
Okay.
and probably none of my like no, very few people know that, but like he was always like a guy for me that I was like LT, like he went through, drugs, all kind of shit, and and look what he ended up doing.
Yeah.
So I put my heart and soul into this book report, and I give it to my teacher, and I'm, let's.
I'm gonna ace this.
Right. And so, we get our book reports back a couple days later, and she lays it down on my desk. And it was the old school face down, right? So I'm, and I flip it over. I'm waiting for that, fucking A++++, right? And then I flip it over and it's an F.
Dude.
Okay.
What did that do to you?
I will tell you right now, Sean. What that did to me is I punched my desk, I stood up, and I walked up to my teacher's desk with that report, and I slammed it down on her desk, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I put everything into this. Are you kidding me?" And she goes, how could you give me an F? Why? How? This bitch looked at me and goes, "It's too good. I know you didn't do it."
Oh my God.
That's what she said to me.
I didn't see that coming.
So I walked out of school. I called my parents
I just got the chills.
and I said, I need a ride. I'm done. And we talked, and it was towards the end of the school year, and I said, and I felt bad giving my parents this ultimatum, but, I wasn't in the best mindset, but I said, I'm not going back to that school, and if you think I'm going back to that school, I'm going to disappear, and you're not going to find me. It was the best thing I could think to say, and once again, sorry, guys. But I couldn't go back there, not after that. And it was just constant. I mean, that was the biggest moment. I could share a bunch of other little moments. No point. But so my junior year, I then go to the public school, and I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
It's all my soccer buddies, more girls. Yay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm running around like, yeah. And what was funny is I'm the new guy in a sense, but I'm a junior. So it's like I fell right in. The problem was though, is the partying and kind of being off the rails picked up again.
Yeah.
I didn't, my grades were okay, but it was just like, the focus wasn't where I would have liked it to be.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question, and I don't want this to come across as like critical or anything, but so you got that grade, you got the F. Your teacher told you it was too good. There's no way you did it. Did you ever think, or did you ever kind of like look back and say, I did that to myself? She thought that because of my choices. I didn't try. I was a below average student. Her vision of me was legitimate.
Yeah. Not until this moment. I mean, no, I just thought,
Like you
yeah,
created that reputation.
you're right. For sure.
And it's
For
like,
sure.
it takes, and again, I'm not trying to like
No,
put you on the
listen,
spot.
I had the hair. Like, trust me, you're
like-
right. You're right. I never thought
You
about
never
that.
took ownership
No, you're right.
of that moment,
Yep.
right?
And she's probably like, hold on a second. How did this ugly duckling, this kid, just throw this down?
Yeah.
So you're yeah.
So you could have, it's like, I think we all have like defining moments in life that you don't realize are defining at the time.
Yeah.
In the moment you punch your desk, you're like, fuck this bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you could have done two different things there. You could have been like, all right, this is her vision of me. I'm going to pull my pants up, get my shit together,
Yeah.
and change her perception of me and probably other people's perception of you. She
That's the
probably wasn't
problem.
the only one.
Yeah, that's the problem. I wanted to pull my pants down and shit
Yeah.
on her desk. You know,
Right.
you
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's like kind of like two different paths you could take there.
Sure.
And you took the, well, fuck you then.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere else.
Yes.
I'm going to look for acceptance somewhere else.
And maybe that's what created almost like this negative fire in me through life. is it's like from early on, you know, I didn't have the focus, I didn't have the drive, but then when I would start to put the focus and drive into things and I wouldn't get any respect or a good reaction, I would immediately revert to, fuck you, we're done. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Do you feel like you have to prove a point to people? Like, are you the type of person that feels like you have to prove yourself or prove acceptance in any
Not
way?
anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. No, I used to for sure. You know, and I think part of it was like the tattoo thing, right? Like before that whole like stigma faded away a couple years ago, I was looked at like people would, you know, "Ooh, hey, ooh," you know, and so I would go above and beyond to smile and say hi to people and this and that, but you know, the reaction was never good.
Right.
You know, and things have changed a lot, but like I said, you know, lots of reflection, and I guess I'm in a mindset now where it's like I feel like I'm going to bring a good positive energy to everyone and anyone as much as I possibly can. And if you don't want to reciprocate that, cool, we're done. I'll go another path.
Okay.
You stay on your path. Life's too fast, man. I
Yeah.
don't have time to beg someone to like me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
something like I'm trying to teach my son right now. Like, not everyone's gonna like you. That's unfortunately how this life
So,
is.
I don't want to keep like flip flopping back
Yeah,
and
sorry.
forth between time, but you said the moment you met me, you immediately judged me, right? Everybody judges everybody. Okay.
I went
It doesn't, I get it all the time in the gym from strangers,
Sure.
you know, whatever. I hear all the typical whatever comments. You know, Maria, she gets the same thing, you know,
Yeah.
oh, she's,
Yeah.
she,
Yeah. If you, yeah. Yeah.
but you're always going to be judged, dude.
Yes.
You're never going to fit into the mold of everybody.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting trying to do that.
I went to college. I got a bachelor's for communications, minor in business communications. You know, what is that? I don't know. You know, so it was like I should have. You know, if I could do it all over again, 1,000% no thought. I would love to get into physical therapy because that's a passion I have. Like just when I'm coaching soccer, like teaching kids how to use their body better. Hey, what you did there was okay, but we could do it this way. And the glow, the feeling I get when I see a kid like get that aha moment, I'm like, ah. But anyway, with communications, what I was gonna say was, I believe I could be off by a second or two, but I think it's like it's actually I want to say it's like 1 second, 1.2 seconds. It could be less than a second. Is how fast we all judge each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that's
We're
bonkers,
all
right?
guilty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, and a guy like you, it's like I say you smile a lot. You know, a guy like you're almost forced to smile a lot. Because if you're not smiling at people, they're like, Jesus Christ.
What's his problem?
Yeah, what's this guy? What's he going to do? You know, so yeah.
It's funny you say that because, you know, Bella, my stepdaughter, you know, she says like her friends are like, you know, is he nice? Is he mean? Should I shake his hand?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And Bella's like, he's literally like the nicest, most chill guy you're ever going to meet, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
And, you know, so yeah, am I always smiling? No.
Yeah.
But
For me, maybe it's the tattoos. You know, some of my son's friends will come over and, you know, I'll start talking to him. Hey, guys, can we, you know, take it easy on this or that? And, you know, some of his friends, I'll get that like, and I'm like, bro, easy, dude. I'm not like,
yeah,
you know,
give me a hug.
Yeah. Yeah. Come here.
Come in here.
Come here, little guy. So it's, yeah, man, I get it. That stigma, that judgment, it's fast. It's real fast.
Yeah, it's fast and it's impossible to avoid.
Yeah, but if you have an interaction with someone and you don't see their initial judgment of you, which would you know, in my case or maybe yours, in a lot of times, right, would their initial judgment is likely negative, and you don't see that change in them. Once again, life's too fast, man.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to sell myself to you. If you don't like you don't like this,
Then they probably shouldn't be in your life anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, later.
Make a seat for someone else that,
Yeah,
that
man.
belongs there.
Yeah.
So you get through high school, you switch from a Catholic school to the public school, you graduate high school. What's Kevin do next?
Kevin gets out of high school, and probably no surprise to you or anybody else, Kevin gets out of high school and goes, "The fuck am I gonna do now?" Right?
Yeah. So
Oh, the party's over. High school's over.
so how were your parents? Were they like, okay, you're 18, you got to move out, or you're 18, you got to get a job, or
Yeah.
how did that go?
So when I say my parents were fantastic, in a sense that they were always there for me. And I don't want anybody to think or you to think like they didn't provide the guidance. They tried, hand over fist. They tried. Hey, Kev, what about
all a
this?
parent can do.
Yeah, Kev, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So they tried. But I know they were probably just banging their heads off the wall, just going, God damn it, like we can't get through it. And meanwhile, you have my brother just killing shit. He knew I'm gonna be a cop. I'm gonna go to law school. He gets
it all figured out.
He destroys college. He gets his master's.
Yeah.
And then there's me, like, what's Kevin gonna do? So I bounce around colleges and this and that, and I'm glad we're talking about this because this was kind of one of those defining moments for me. So I ended up going. I had a couple credits from like WCCC or whatever. Now I'm working full time. At this time, and I decided to go back to college, and again my parents were great. They're like, you can stay here till you get stuff figured out, and I was like, thank you. So I go to Seton Hill. They had the adult program, that you could attend at nights and weekends and stuff, so you could still work full time. So I go to that. I put my heart and soul into this, and my girlfriend at the time, who then becomes my beautiful wife, saw me, just day in, night, whatever, grinding, right? I graduated Seton Hill with a 3.7 and made like, whatever, I don't remember, sukalam cum laude, whatever the hell, one of, their adult, that program. And I was so... That was a moment, I mean, it was a real deal. I get the plaque, I get all this stuff, and I'm sitting there and I'm holding this and I'm going, wait a minute.
What do I do with this?
Yeah. Not only that, but like, holy shit. I maybe I am smart. Maybe I can do something good here, right? And yeah, you're right. What do you do with this?
Yeah. So you obviously had it in you to be driven. What do you think it took for you to just hunger or just fiend for that success at that older age that you didn't have? The obvious answer is maturity, or age.
Sure.
But is there anything that like lit that fire? Like Kevin, you gotta like do something with your life now. Was there like, can you think back at like, something your brother was doing or something your parents said or seeing a friend succeed? Like, is there anything that was just like, okay, it's on?
Yeah, it's cool. It's funny that you asked this because this was, I may have never even told her this, but it was, it was my wife, my girlfriend at the time. Like so quick backstory here. She was a freshman when I was a senior, and she had it for me. I find this out through the grapevine, and we had our fun. We did our thing. I graduate, and I just went off into, the black hole of Kevin, right? And I feel bad because she tells me years later, like, I was crushed. Like, you never came back to me and this and that. The way we got together, and I just feel like this is fun, it's important to share, was my mom had like a minor procedure done, and my brother and I were huge music people, and we're like, we got to get something for mom. She's in the hospital. So we go to the mall, like Record Town, Camelot, whatever it was, right? And we're going to get her like the new Whitney Houston or whatever it was. Well, I thought Haley was gone because the last I heard she moved. She was in Lake Tahoe, 6 years.
Wow.
And I see her standing like she was at like one of the cell phone booths. She had just moved back and was trying to get cell phone stuff straightened out. And my brother saw her first, and he goes, "Oh, Kev," he goes, "There's Haley." And I look up, and Haley was always a beautiful girl, but Haley had gotten even more beautiful. And I'm like, who? And so I look, and I pause, and I'm like, who? And my brother goes, "You gonna go talk to her?" And I go, "I don't know, man." I go, the way things, I hope she's cool. I don't know. And he looks and he goes, well, dude, if you're not going to, I will. And I go, all right, dude. I go, fine.
Calm down.
I go, here goes, and listen, it was cool. We laughed about it.
Yeah.
He actually told this story at my wedding.
Oh my.
And so I roll up and it was cool. The reaction was pure. It was
like,
genuine. She was excited.
Like no time had passed. Was it like
Kind
picked
of.
up where you left off?
Kind
in a
of,
way?
yeah. And from that day on, like I get her number. We were talking all day and night, like two little kids again. We're both out of high school. We had all these experiences. So it was like me asking her about the West Coast and Lake Tahoe, and like, she was a snowboard instructor, all that stuff. And she's asking me about me around here, and I'm like, yeah, I've been doing all right, Meanwhile, I'm like, not really, So back to what you were talking about as far as like, that moment or what caused me to, I would say it was a combination between her and my parents.
Good.
I was sick of, seeing that look on my parents' face, like, hey, Kev, you should do this. And then I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd go do something else. And then both my mom and dad being like, fuck, like I could tell,
Do you think they were disappointed?
I think
they were more frustrated.
Yeah, probably more frustrated. And I think they were scared. As a parent now, I think if I look at, my son Gabe, and, if he was doing the things that I did, like I'd be scared. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what's he doing? What's he getting into? Why can't he find a path?
Like spiraling out of control.
Yeah. So it was part my parents, and it was part Haley, because I was like, I wanted to make her proud. I wanted to make them proud. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And that's what I think kind of, hey, I'm going back to school and I'm doing this. And the reaction I got from all of them was cool.
That's like movie shit, dude. Like,
it was cool.
6 years went by.
Right? You
see the girl, and that changes your future. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yes. It's our story, like I love, and we butt heads hard like anybody else, right?
Because you're passionate about
we
each
love
other.
hard, we fight hard.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But like, I've told her, I'm like, listen, however bad anything ever gets, like we're riding this shit out.
Yeah.
So it's I want them to be proud.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
That's the big thing.
I'm sure they are. And you know what? Like, we all have a past, and we all take a different road to get to where we're at today. The important thing is you changed your path, and you woke the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you got your shit together,
In a big way, to where, now I'm a guy, and especially since my son, Gabriel's 13 now. He's going to be 14 in April. I know it's cool because he's like, cool dad, like he always wants to show me, car videos or soccer, this or that.
Yeah.
We have a outstanding bond, so he's not just, you have that son, but friend bond.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want him to ever look at me and be like, oh, my dad's,
lame or like,
I want him to be proud. And, so I've even explained to him what I do now in my job. And like, how funny is that the kid, and this is kind of a thought I had this week when I was thinking like shit, here's the kid that, had to go to the kind of the reading classes, that couldn't type, that didn't care, that had shitty grades, ends up, finally getting his shit straight, and then graduates college with a 3.7 and now works his way kind of up through the corporate or professional ladder in a company, huge insurance carrier provider, to now not only train people, but I'm currently, part of like a full redesign on how we're going to train people and bring them in. So I guess I can say I looked at all that and I went, okay, Kev, I guess I'm proud of you too.
You're a hell of a role model, man. Like, for real. And it took a lot to get here, a lot of tough choices and a lot of,
Sure.
But
yeah, it is. It's crazy. And, for me, something I wanted to tell, and I don't know if it's okay to say now or whatever, but like, I like to share because, like, let me ask you this. I'll say this before I talk about this. Like, if I ask you right now, what's the craziest day of your life? Do you have that? Do you know what that is? It's tough. I feel like a lot of people don't know.
Define crazy.
Uh,
Not to make this more
filled
complicated.
with no. You're filled with chaos, filled with maybe highs and lows. Just to where you found yourself the whole way up here, here, like just all over the place, to where that day ended, and you took a breath and you looked and you went, "Oh my God."
Yep, I have it.
You do? What was it? Can I ask?
Yeah. It was the day that my now ex-wife sent me a text message when I was in a meeting. It said, "Call me now." And no one wants to see that.
Yeah.
So I left the meeting and I called, and she had found out that I was having an affair. That day changed everything.
I got you. Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I could talk about it this is about you.
No, it's okay.
I could talk about it for a long time.
I just wanted to know.
That absolutely was the craziest day of my life, for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sitting here today. I love my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You clearly made, because you're a guy that, and we didn't dig into it and it's okay, but like you're a guy that, like, that even that first day we met, we're laughing, we're talking, we're almost interviewing each other. What are you into? I'm curious. I'm looking at this big ass bald dude. Like, what's your deal, man? What are you into? And you're looking at this tatted up guy, slick back hair. Like, what's your deal? And it was funny, but we had so much fun, and we're like, oh, okay. You know what? I like this guy. We're cool. And it all goes back to that kind of that extrovert energy, right?
Yeah.
But talking about those moments, that craziest day, like, this is something that, like, I still to this day, when I look at my wife and my son, there's still moments where I just want to scream out to people like, "Come here. Let me tell you this story. I want you to know how my son came into this world." And that's, for me, like, that changed some things too. So, wife's pregnant. We know she's close. We're renting an apartment over in Irwin at the time. My parents come over for dinner, and she's not doing well. We could tell, like, she was within a couple days, and we're like, oh man, do you, and my wife is too strong, too tough for her own good. And boy, did this prove evident in this moment, right? So, I made this nice dinner, pot roast, whatever it was, like good old school PA dinner, right? And she couldn't eat it. She's like, "I'm not doing well. My parents leave," and they're like, "Shit, yeah, I guess," So she's like, "Go, just do your thing." She's like, "Everything's gonna be okay." I'm like, all right. So we go to bed that night, and I sleep pretty hard, and she wakes me up from doing this shit in the bed. She's shaking the bed, and I roll over and I'm like, "You okay? What is going on? Do you need something?" Yeah, I was like, "Kevin's sleepy. Stop it," And she's like, "No, I'm good," and I'm like, "What?"
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm like, "Okay," and she's like, and she just would not succumb to, like, maybe I'm not good, maybe this baby's coming. So she's like, "No, you got to go to work tomorrow." She's like, his date's this or that, so she's just go. I'm like, okay. So my alarm goes off. I get up to go to work, and I roll over, and she's not in bed. And I'm like, oh shit. So I walk out into the, little duplex we were in, and I look over and it was Gabe's room that we had already. We had all these cute little this, that, I love monkeys, and, there's monkey stuff everywhere. And she's sitting in his rocker, rocking, like, aggressively, like pretty much in active labor, like, and I'm like, are you good? Or, like, this is I think we should go. And she's like, no, I'm good. Like, basically pushes me out the door. And I mean, so I guess I want to say two things about this day. It's not only the craziest day I ever had, it's the biggest regret I ever had in this life. Because at that moment, I should have said, no, I'm not going to work, and I should have stayed. But I guess I was just trying to like do what I'm told in a sense. Like, okay, fine.
Give her space.
Because she had her last follow-up visit with her gynae or whatever. My dad was going to take her. So like, I knew that my dad was going to be with her to take her to this last appointment while I was at work. And I had like a week or two planned, right? Because Gabe's coming. So I go to work. I'm not at work more than 45 minutes. And it was the old school days of the old iPod with the, the cords in, and I'm sitting there working, managing my claims. And a buddy of mine comes up. Everybody knew this job was great. It was almost like high school all over again because everybody knew everybody. We'd eat lunch together. We had a ping pong table in the lunchroom. It was fantastic. It was like awesome. So bunch of friends and my one buddy comes up and he flicks me in the back of my ear. I don't like that. Who likes that, right? And I'm already like at an 11, right? And I turn around like, and he's like, "Hey, Kev, your phone's ringing." And meanwhile, we would never get calls that early. I think I started like 7:40. It's like 7:43, and I look down at my phone and I see my wife's cell phone number, and I'm like, pick up the phone, and I still like this tone. What she said to me at that moment was just, it knocked me out of my chair, and I just hear, "Kevin, I just had Gabe in our bathroom." What the fuck? Right? And what do you do, dude? Like, I couldn't, it was bonkers. Now, little caveat to the story. I didn't have a license at the time because I had got a prior speeding ticket because one of my grandmother was dying and I was an idiot. And my dad's like, "Hey, you should try to get here as quick as you can." And I blasted up the turnpike and there was an unmarked car behind me. And I got a pretty bad speeding ticket to where I had lost my license for, a month or whatever it was. So I was carpooling with friends.
I was gonna say, you riding your Huffy?
Yeah, right. So the dude that flicked me in the ear looks and he's like, he knew. And he's like, "Do you need to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So everybody's like, "Go, Kev." And it's like, something out of a movie. I'm running down the hall and everybody's going, "Kev, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, this is a fucking baby." And I'm just running. And my buddy's, and he's right. He's like, "Let's go, dude." So we run out of this building. We get in his SUV, and he's moving pretty good. And we get on the Parkway, and he's doing like a dead 70, and we're on there for like a mile. And I go, "Hey man, you gotta fucking go! Like what the fuck?" I go, "Go! You gotta go!" And he's like, "Oh, sorry." And he starts going, and I'm just screaming at him the whole time. I'm like, "Faster, Mike, faster!" So the plan was this: the draw
You're
point.
driving with Miss Daisy.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like I thought we knew, and God, like best dude ever, Mike. I love you to this day, like for that, like. So, draw point was Irwin. My dad's there waiting for me. Jump in the car with my dad. We fly to the hospital. Now, I don't want to miss these details that how strong my wife was because she had our son in the bathroom. Catches him, knew to keep the cord attached, and wrapped herself up, calls me, calls my dad, calls 911, walks down the stairs, unlocks the door for 911, and sits there and waits patiently with our newborn son. Are you fucking kidding? Right? What a beast.
Badass.
Yes, dude. Yes. Okay, so I didn't want to lose that piece. That to me is just insane. And so
your crazy day beats
a lot of crazy days, I think, right? And that's why I was like, I wanted to tell this because, a lot of people know it, but a lot of people don't know it. Maybe a lot of people don't know all the details to it, right? Now, the only way I can explain this is I get to the hospital and I come flying into that room like, and I'm not a Seinfeld fan, sorry, but I like Kramer, right? I slide into the room like, and she's laying on one table and he's under a heat lamp because the only thing wrong with him was, his body temperature was a little bit low. Now, do you want to talk about a moment in your life where you've never been more torn, right? I come in and I'm like, ha, 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 back and forth, like, who do I go to? And Haley kind of sits up in bed while they're,
Yeah.
kind of cleaning her up, all that stuff, right? And she kind of sits up and she's like, go to him, and she didn't say it that way, but I like to say it that way. Go to him. So, dude, I walk over to this little French fry lamp, and this is the part that always kills me. But it's just like the best, most magical, amazing moment in my life. Like so I walk up to this little thing he's in with the lamp, and I'm going like this, right? My hands are over top of him, and I'm hovering, and I'm in shock, and I don't know what to do. Like, can I touch him? I don't, there's nurses, there's doctors everywhere, and I'm doing this. Nobody comes with me. They're all with my wife, which fine, but I'm going. Ah. That little bugger looked at me, and while I'm doing this, he reached up and he grabbed one of my fingers.
You're fucking kidding.
And I fucking, dude, I lost my mind.
Oh my God.
I lost my mind. I was standing there just, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk.
I'm like tearing up.
Yeah.
Man. Holy hell.
It smashed me. I was like, phew. I was like, here we go. It's like, I have a son.
Like daddy.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yes. I told you, it gets me every time. Every time.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So I love sharing that, and what that day did to me. Like, her drive to be like, I'm going to deliver this kid. Here he comes. She didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But she did everything right. She kept him safe. And, for that, it's like, Jesus, she's the MVP, for forever, grateful. Right. So that's for me, like who goes through that. So again, craziest day in my life, but also the biggest regret, because, I joke around about it with people, because, I say, I was a little weirded about cutting the cord.
Yeah.
So like, that's my only joke that I use, is maybe like how I deal with that, because I like to say to people like, I was a little weird on cutting the cord, but I didn't want to get out of it that way. Right. So
you try to lighten the situation.
Yeah. So that's what I did, but that's what a lot of us do. Right.
Sure. You
You feel uncomfortable, you feel scared, you feel mad, whatever, you sometimes deflect with humor.
Yeah.
Yep. But that for me, man, that was a big one. Right?
Like, I'm like speechless, man. That's intense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have a lot of movie moments in your life, man.
I guess so. It's like you absorb the experience, and then you move on and you start to look forward, because you have no choice other than to do so. But dude, it's when I look back and I tell these stories and you relive it in a sense, and that's the beauty of memory and telling stories and stuff like this is, I love talking about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so proud of her, and hey, I mean, he's perfectly healthy, short of all the injuries that he's had along the road. But God bless him, he's leveling out. I mean, it's hard, man, whenever your kid deals with some big injuries. But I have to take a deep breath and take a step back. And something I've prided myself on getting better at is going, hey, man, things could be worse. And that's, for me, like, no matter where things get with family, work, you name it, like, you have to take that step back and go, man, it could be worse. I heard something that I wanted to share that, like, really resonated with me, that I've been doing for a couple weeks now. And I think it was like Michael Rappaport, I want to say, he threw this out, and you may know of this. It's probably no secret to some, but have you heard of like doing like a morning gratitude diary? So I'm not writing anything down yet. I may at some point, but what I started to do is, like, every morning when that alarm goes off, I set my phone down and I lay there and I think, about what to be grateful for. And that for me, like if you start your days off like that, one, I woke up,
Yeah.
but 2, 3, 4, 5, 92, however you want to count those out,
Yeah.
all those moments, all that shit that you need to be grateful for, your kids, your house, your whatever it may be, your family, that for me, I feel like whatever punches you take throughout the rest of the day, that helps a lot,
Yeah.
man.
It just helps you kind of bob and weave through
Fuel in the
those.
tank, yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. But that just shows the kind of person you are. You're glass half full, right? And do you know how many people wake up in the morning bitching? The first thing out of their mouth, they're bitching
Yes.
about something.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
How does that set your day up?
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, if you wake up on the negative side, it's like, if you're in war and you're already injured,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's you don't want to start your day off with being injured,
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah. Oh, dude, I could talk all day on just perception of
for sure.
like how good or bad your life is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like you said, it could always be worse, and that is no further from the truth.
And like I said earlier, man, I'm 45. You're about to be 45. We're over the halfway point, in most cases, right?
Yeah.
Look how fast that went. And I laugh sometimes too, and this is another thought, like an internal thing that I had that I wanted to share with you that I kind of think is cool and I'm proud of is like, you hear a lot of people say, hey man, you only got one life to live. You got to do this, right? I disagree with that. Like, if you look at your life and like some of this stuff I shared with you, like I've lived a lot of different lives in this life.
Not to stop you, but
Yeah.
I use the analogy of like we have different chapters
Yeah.
in our
Yep,
book.
Exactly.
The next chapter doesn't have to transition smoothly from the previous one.
For sure.
It can start completely fresh.
For sure.
So
So yeah, so you smell exactly what I'm stepping in here, right?
I do.
I mean, it's like, man, so with that said, looking back at these different lives that I've lived within this to this point, am I where I want to be? No. And can a lot of people say they are? Probably, but at the same time, I like to at least celebrate the good things, the positives, the victories that I've had in my life. The fact that my son's here, stuff like that.
yeah.
Are there things that I can do better with or be better at? How can I be, a better father, a better husband, a better son? Those are thoughts that I have now that I never had.
Yeah.
And so
But the fact that you
I think it's
care
good.
enough,
It's healthy.
the fact that you care,
Yeah, I've made one of these,
like you want to improve. The Kevin of old didn't give a fuck about improving for anybody,
No.
right?
No.
But look at you now, man.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm grateful, man. And I had some God moments too. I grew up Catholic. Of course, I went to church all the time. Feel bad, I don't go now, but I still consider myself a very spiritual person. I pray, I talk, and but man, you gotta take that step back and go, okay, I have a lot to be grateful for, but I'm also, as we like to say, right, work in progress, and I realize that, and again, just like this morning gratitude thing, like to go back to that for a second, like it just, I have found it so helpful.
yeah.
And maybe some people will listen and say, oh, that's bullshit, whatever. Well, man, I feel bad if you don't have anything to be grateful for. You can't find that. You can't uncover some stones to be grateful for some things. That sucks.
It does suck.
I mean, you have
Like
to.
I feel bad
find
for
that.
people that
Yes.
that can't find anything.
And those are probably the people that are walking around mad being assholes to everyone and anyone that they encounter in life. And we all have bad days, and I'm not going to sit here.
The Karens of
man.
life.
Yeah, dude. The Karens. Yeah. So I'm not going to say I have things to work on, and it's not like I'm walking around every day, everybody I see going, hello there, my good man, and whatever it may be. But I have those days where you hold a door for somebody going into a store and they don't say thank you, and they walk by me and I'm like, fucking kill
You're welcome.
Fucking kill you. I shouldn't do that. I should just be like, maybe they were having a bad day.
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those that we all have those little things to work on.
Okay. You've made my job a lot easier. You've said the word work like 10 times in the last 2 minutes. Okay. And then you said work in progress before that. Work.
Yep.
You worked your ass off to get here, dude. And there's a lot of people in this world that wait for things to happen to them, wait for the good to happen to them. I'm not lucky, blah, blah, blah. They're
Right.
waiting to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
They're not working for it.
Right.
You worked for it.
It's my dad, was one of the people that I remember always saying, just always stressing work, right? And like I said, it didn't sink in for years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things I'm proud of, to where I almost take it as a normal day a lot of days, to work all day, get a workout in right after work. And then some days I don't even have time to shower, and Haley's probably working and I'm running Gabe to soccer.
Yeah.
It's okay. It is what it is.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I got to do my work. I got to take care of me, and I got to go do what he needs. And then at the same time, just trying to be there for him and her as much as I can. And again, I think I do a pretty damn good job of it, but there's days where I'm like, I could have did better, And so that's where I'm at now. Is I'm super proud of where I'm at now. But now like I've accomplished things, from the physical standpoint, but like it only made me hungrier, because now I'm like, oh shit, well, okay, I did this, now I can do better. And
So think if you didn't have that attitude of, I could have done better. What if every day you said, I've done enough. I can't do any more than I'm possibly doing now.
yeah.
Bad shit's going to happen because you've been complacent.
Yeah.
You set the car on cruise control.
Yep.
You're never going to improve if you have that attitude. So just the fact that you recognize I could have done better,
Yeah.
you're going to try to do better
Oh yeah.
instinctually.
Yeah. Those people that are on cruise control like that, I mean, you're wearing sleep pants to Walmart. Okay. Just for Christ's sake, you can't even throw on a pair of pants.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
The drive, or the lack of drive in so many people. And I think it's definitely more in the younger generation now. It's like people, they wait for things to happen for them. They want to get bailed out. Like they don't want to put the effort in anymore.
I agree with you 100%. I think it's so it's lack of drive, but it's also like what I see like with my job is like lack of like attention to detail.
Yeah.
I've worked with men, women, ages ranging from, mid to late 20s up through like late 50s, early 60s. And what I see as far as their work ethic and their work rate, it's mind-boggling. These younger, like and it's not all, of course, like there are many or some in the younger generations that have that drive and have that work ethic, but it unfortunately, it feels like there are more that want things handed to them, and there are more that, when I talk about attention to detail, well, maybe I told you to do these 5 things to make this thing right, and you just sent it back to me and you did 2 of the things.
Did the bare minimal.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And we just sent this thing back and forth, like, so And that can kind of go with a lot of things in life, man. Why does there have to be so much back and forth? If we just communicate clearly,
Yeah.
you tell me exactly what are you talking about? What do you need from me, or how can we get through this? Then we can roll, man.
I know. It doesn't have to be that difficult.
No.
All right.
No.
So we're gonna lighten things up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna arm wrestle.
I mean,
You've talked about how fit you are
I was hoping
so many times.
Not
I'm
that
like, you
fit,
know what?
Not that fit.
And as we do this, you call
Is there a way that I can arm wrestle you with one of my legs, being that your arms are the size of my legs? No?
I mean, that would be a first on the show.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe that's. You know what? I also I was gonna do. I should have done. I was gonna get the over the top hat and just hope
Flip
that
the
gave me the
switch?
power to beat you.
Hey, man.
Right?
Whatever it takes.
All right. So,
All right.
am I allowed to hold this table?
Yeah, man.
I
Whatever
mean,
you gotta do.
I need some kind of leverage here, because
Whatever you gotta do.
your hands are like, it's like a bear paw. And I might maybe.
That's what Eddie
What if I
said on the last
What
episode.
if
He's
I
like, your
slip
hands
out
are
here?
huge.
This devil's juice has my hands sweating. All right, you let me know when we're going.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, go. All right. So you asked me a really serious
You are
question.
really strong.
It caught me off guard. You said, "What was the craziest day of your life?"
Oh, geez.
So, Kevin, what are you the most afraid of in life? Come on. What's your biggest fear?
Failure.
Failure as
Wife, son, parents looking at me now going,
what
He
do you
sucks.
consider failure though?
oh,
Disappointing them?
not coming through with something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not coming through.
All right.
Maybe he didn't work hard enough. Ah, Jesus.
Truce.
God. I think I got you about here at one point.
Yeah.
Right about there.
We'll call that a victory.
You're wow, dude.
And I asked you like what your biggest fear is, because a lot of people never think of what that is. And fear of failure, that fear ties in to your whole story of wanting to get better all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's that, and now that I feel like my arm's not going to get torn off by a grizzly bear, and I can think clearly again. I would say my biggest fear is losing parents, brother, wife, son. Anybody, extended family. I think that for me is one of the scariest things. That's the hardest thing, right? Is dealing with the loss of a loved one.
And we're never ready for that.
No.
You
And you can't
can't
control it
No.
in most cases. So I hate that, because I guess, to backpedal a little bit, right, is like, in a lot of cases, you can control failure, right? If you put enough work into it, in most cases. But man, when it gets to like life and death, like you can't.
No. Yeah.
So,
we
Two-part
all
answer. I'm
have-
sorry I cheated a little bit.
No, you're good, dude. Yeah, we all have a limited time
Mm-hmm.
on this planet.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, you're at the halfway point of your life. Okay.
It's crazy.
So we're going to close out with this question. What are your goals for the second half?
I'm gonna build off of what I said earlier, man. I want to be better husband, father, son, brother. Yeah, that for me is, be there even more for my son, be there even more for my wife, my parents, my brother. I'd say that, and I think I've come a long way. But again, you get that taste of like, success or results, however you want to look at it or measure it. It just makes you hungry for more. And it's like, man, this feels good. I want to do better, but I guess something that, and I'm glad you asked me this, because a huge word that, and I said I'm a huge music guy, and I could probably do 3 hours on music, but like,
We'll have you on for another episode.
let's do it. Slug from Atmosphere said, trying to find a balance. And we have a whole song about trying to find a balance. And that for me is like the biggest thing in life that I feel like I've gotten a whole heck of a lot better with. I'm drinking with you.
Yeah.
I'll have some beers later. I'm going to a show.
Okay. But you're still fit. You care about your body.
Yeah. Balance.
Yep.
Yes.
So you haven't let it tip
no
too far in one direction.
And Lord knows I used to, and now it's just like you got to look at yourself and go, man, what feels better? What's better for me? What's better for my family? And
you got a son watching you now, man.
Yep.
That's a whole different influence.
Yes.
That you didn't have before.
And he's a smart kid, man. I don't, I'm not trying to get anything passed on him. I try to stay as transparent as I can, because like I said, I want him to look at me like, hey, cool dad, but good dad.
Yeah. I
so
think we all
balance,
want
man.
our children to be proud of us.
For sure. For sure.
Well, man, this was amazing. Like, you got me.
It's
like,
fun,
you
man.
got a crazy story, dude. And I think I'm getting emotional just closing out. I think like you've shown that, and this is the reason I have this. On the surface, you look interesting. Okay?
Yeah.
Tattoos, the hair,
Sure.
you're fit, pretty wife, athletic son. You're interesting on the surface. But when you dig deep down and you pull back those layers, man, like you're fucking interesting, but you're also like an amazing human being. And you go back to judgment, you got to give someone a chance.
For sure.
You got to learn like this person is more than just what they look like.
1,000%. I'm guilty of it to this day. I'm sure we're all guilty of it to this day. But what I've done a better job of doing is going, instead of taking that step over that barrier of completing the judgment, I'll start stepping over and then I step back and I go,
kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe this dude looks all dirty and, not put together or whatever, but you have no idea what that person's been through. What are they dealing with? What's their life been like? What day have they had? You don't know. So it's, that's something I'm trying to, again, work in progress, just trying to evaluate, be more fair. Hey, back to balance, right?
Yeah.
Have balance on how you evaluate, other people.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming. You make me want to be a better person.
I appreciate you,
and
man. Back at you.
I am sure that people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, I want to improve. I want to be a better person. And I thank you for touching those people.
For sure, man. Little by little. You know, that the only other thing I got to say is like little by little, right? Everybody, whether or not it's fitness or trying to get through school or trying to get a better job, like it's consistency. It's not giving up. It's not stopping, but little by little, right?
Just 1% every day.
Little
Just
by
a little
little.
extra.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
For sure. Appreciate you, man.
Love you, bro.
Good shit.
All
Love you,
right.
man.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next episode of Barbells and Bourbon. Peace.